Now we are just 3 days away from night number 1 of the Stanley Cup Final in Sunrise on a Saturday between the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers to continue to get you set for the Cup Final in 2024. Will Lord Stanley's Cup be going back above the border to the Great White North? Casey Hudson joins us live right here on this Wednesday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. Casey, you are in the Sunshine State. That is Florida. A Florida team back into the Cup Final for, what is it, a 5th consecutive year? The Lightning there for so many years, and now the Florida Panthers for 2 straight seasons. How does it feel to be in the hockey state of all of these United States?
Yeah, we're taking over, and that feels good. I know there's some mixed emotions about rooting for your in-state rival, but it works here in Hockey Paradise. We just want the trophy to stay in the Sunshine State so that the Lightning can take it back next year, of course.
And we'll see if it goes up to Canada. We have the northernmost team in the National Hockey League. That is Edmonton, facing off against the southernmost team in the National Hockey League. That is the Florida Panthers. Last year, Casey, the run to the Stanley Cup Final for the Panthers was improbable. The 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, making it all the way there. But the odds were more optimistic. Florida would be back entering this season. For the Edmonton Oilers, it has been getting Conor McDavid a Cup Final. That has always been expected up in Edmonton. As we take a look at the path for both of these teams and their odds at every step of the journey throughout this National Hockey League season, did you expect either of these teams to be in the Stanley Cup Final as this year got underway?
The Florida Panthers, yes, and obviously them getting past the New York Rangers, who were an extremely hot and complete team. As for the Oilers, not so much. I mean, I think I had the Canucks as my Canadian team to make it. We saw the adversity they had to go through, even though they put up a massive battle for everything they had to overcome. Then I had the Dallas Stars coming out of the West to compete in the Stanley Cup Final. So never did I have the Oilers touching this grace, but I could see why they got there. But this is going to be a great matchup. All in all, if the Florida Panthers made it through the Rangers as I predicted that they would, I have them taking this one.
Yeah, 2 teams that's certainly deserving to be in the Stanley Cup Final. It's fun to see a team from, way up in Canada taking on a team from southern Florida. If we take a look at the money line in this series, we're expecting a great one. Florida, a slight favorite with home ice advantage at a minus 128 price. If you're looking at Edmonton, that slight dog price at a plus 106. Also, the spread here, Florida to win by a game and a half, plus 160. To get the game and a half, Edmonton, that is a minus 200 price. And even if we're taking a look at the series prices, not game by game, over 5.5, heavily juiced at a minus 188 price here at FanDuel. So just being optimistic before we see this series start on Saturday, how are we feeling about this? Is it right that Florida's the favorite here? Is it should be a little bit distant here where Florida should be 140 or higher? How do we say it?
Yeah, I completely agree with Florida being the favorite here. And it's not to take away from what Edmonton has done whatsoever. And of course, I'm on board with McDavid deserving this stage, this spotlight, and an opportunity to hoist the cup. But the bottom line is the Panthers just kind of edge in a number of categories. And this is going to be the first most complete team that the Oilers are facing. The Oilers went against probably kind of the bottom half of goaltending in the postseason, if you think about it, whereas Bobrovsky, he may have not been on his sharpest game in the first 2 series, but he's still one of the top goaltenders and showed that throughout the regular season and started to pull that in. When you compete against the best team in the NHL, being the New York Rangers, and you have a chance to shut them out from continuing forward, that speaks volumes. So the Panthers just kind of have most of the complete team here. They're going to be much better defensively, which means it's going to be a problem for one of the most high-scoring teams in the NHL to be as productive as they've been. Look at the defenses that the Oilers have produced against. I mean, Chris Tanev was the entire defense primarily for the Dallas Stars, whereas you've got 4 of those guys on the Florida Panthers roster. You've got a lot of two-way players as well. They can pick up in the defensive column as well as get in on the scoring column. So it's going to be a tough test for the Oilers who, yes, they can score, but what's their D zone going to look like? And are they going to apply enough pressure to Skinner to make him crack? Because he has not been the most consistent goaltender between the pipes.
So as Donnie just alluded to, over 5.5 total games in the Stanley Cup Final, heavily juiced. Casey, as we look at the total games market for this 2024 Cup Final, 6 games plus 198. 7 games, technically the shortest by 4 cents at plus 194. We see what the odds makers expect. Casey, what chances do you give the 2024 Stanley Cup Final to see a full 7 games?
Oh, I don't see this going to 7 games at all. I see it going to 6 games max. Yeah, because I mean, look, when it comes down to shutdown goaltending, you're looking at a Panthers team that comes in strong in the final 40 minutes of a game versus a team that comes in heavy in the first 30 to 40 minutes. And to see how they were able to sneak in those points and really battle it out with the best team in the NHL in the third period, they're going to be closers in this, and they're not going to let things linger too much. We're not going to see as many overtimes as we did versus the New York Rangers. So I cannot see this going to 7 games by any means. Again, if they really get a chance to apply a lot of pressure to Stuart Skinner, I see this in maybe 5, but most likely 6 games.
The best player in the playoffs, that is your Conn Smythe Trophy Award winner, Conor McDavid here, the favorite at the FanDuel Sportsbook here. Casey at a 2-1 price, followed by Barkov at plus 380, Bobrovsky at a 4-1 price, Tkachuk, Draisaitl, Bouchard after him. So a lot of prices here at 10-1 or less. Is it just so easy to say that if you think Edmonton wins it, it's going to be McDavid, and if you do think that Florida is going to win it, it's going to be Barkov? And who can surprise us here in this market?
Yeah, I think it is pretty simple when it comes to the Edmonton side, because if you look at 2 of the games versus Dallas, if it was not for McDavid's performance, we would be talking about Dallas Stars versus the Florida Panthers, especially because of his ability to create those lanes for his teammates, the ability to set up scoring for his teammates. But if you want a surprise on the Edmonton side, I like the idea of Bouchard. I think that he has been extremely key for that Edmonton Oilers team. If you look at the consistency and the assists that he has picked up, 2 assists per game almost consistent-wise, I think he's a guy that can really kind of get in there and claim the Conn Smythe as well. And I kind of always had a defenseman taking this one for some reason when it comes to the way that these playoffs have played out. So McDavid and Bouchard over on the Edmonton side. When you're looking at the Panthers, there's kind of a lineup here of guys that can really take this. Of course, Matthew Tkachuk, he has been such a dynamic and dominant leader for this Florida Panthers team, whether it's assists, whether it's his physicality, whether it's his clutch goals or assists. But then you're looking at what Barkov has done. He's probably been the best two-way player in the postseason. He's tallying up great points, clutch points when necessary, but he's also been one of the best shutdown players in the NHL postseason thus far. But the guy that I can't just look away from is Forsling. He's been one of the best defensemen helping out in those clutch moments, but he's sitting at a plus 11 rating, which means he's one of the top guys on the ice every time the Florida Panthers produce in that scoring column. And we've seen his clutch goals that help this team surpass the best team in the NHL, being the New York Rangers. So you got about 3 guys that could take it on the Florida Panthers side. Top guy being Matthew Tkachuk, top guy being Barkov, but the other guys being Tkachuk and Forsling. I wouldn't be surprised again if it goes to a defenseman. So I got Forsling for the Panthers, and I got Bouchard for the Edmonton Oilers if it's not the top stars.
Ooh, I like those under-the-radar picks. And maybe, Casey, you're not the biggest hockey fan out there, or maybe you don't care a lot about the Oilers or the Panthers, or maybe for some very strange reason you're not listening to Casey Hudson give you the best bets for the 2024 Stanley Cup Final. If you need a reason to pay attention, Connor McDavid, the best player in the National Hockey League, is that. He leads all of the NHL this postseason with 31 points. Casey, in the last 40 seconds of this segment, McDavid finally into the Stanley Cup Final. Will he match all of the hype that is behind him here as the Oilers try to win the Cup?
Oh, yeah. I think that he's going to bring the entertainment, the excitement. He's the highlight reel player. But I think he's also going to level up that much more because you're going against a little bit more depth scoring when it comes to the Panthers. Verhaeghe is a flashy guy to watch during this. He's got speed, he's got puck handling, and he's a pest around the net. So I think we're going to see a little bit of competition between McDavid doing his highlight reel and a couple of the guys stepping up on the Florida Panthers. But look, if you're not a hockey fan, you're about to watch one of the most physical, complete teams go against one of the most high-scoring teams and Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, and company. So it's going to be exciting either way to see how fast and how much can the Florida Panthers wear out the Oilers, and how can the Oilers overcome that with their exciting scoring opportunities and scoring style.
Casey Hudson, we appreciate the time as always. Game 1 on Saturday in Sunrise. More on the early line next.